Hello, everybody. My name is Lisa Lamont, and I am host of Ladies Get Your Prance On. And I've got a special guest in the house that is going to absolutely change the way that you look at yourself. You know, we hold on to all these old stories and we're blame and we're victim, and it doesn't serve us. As a matter of fact, it even shows up in our bodies. You know, we get headaches, we get stressed, diseases show up in our bodies. And so the guest that I brought on board today, she is absolutely amazing. Her name is Brenda Reiss, and she is the forgiveness coach. And so I have her on today. She's going to be talking about her upcoming program. She's going to be talking about her new book. I cannot wait to hear about it. So welcome, Brenda.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So I would love you to just jump right in. I think that's the best way to explain, like, first of all, how did you become a forgiveness coach? I'm going to start there.
Okay. So thanks for asking. You know, it was one of those things that I was looking for and didn't know it. And when I had gone through, I did 30 plus years in corporate, and the last few years was just really kind of killing me. My body was giving out. I was under so much stress. And what happened was I just started asking, there's got to be something else. There's got to be something else. But I was afraid to leave, you know, because of financial reasons. I was single and, you know, barely getting by. And my girls had left the house, you know, and I raised them mainly as a single mom. But still, you know, trying to cover all my bills and loans and everything, it was just, I was scared to leave. So I got some wake-up calls with my body. And what that did was led me, you know, to going to a naturopath and some other doctors going, you need some help and you need a back fusion and a neck fusion. And it wasn't from an accident. It was just deterioration. And they're going, you need to loosen up. You need less stress. So in order to get those surgeries, because I had them 6 weeks apart from each other, I had to take time off. And in that time off, in between surgeries, is when I found the forgiveness work. Yeah, it was amazing.
And so you've actually been trained to be a forgiveness. This isn't something that you just decided, I just want to be a forgiveness coach, I'm going to talk. I mean, you've actually had training in this. Can you talk a little bit about that too?
Oh, absolutely. So what I found an advertisement for a forgiveness coach. And it was one of those things that, you know, how you meet people and you go, I got to know this person.
Yeah.
Or you see something, you go, I got to go. And you don't know why. So I saw this little advertisement in the strangest of places, and I went, and it had her picture on it, and I went, I gotta talk to her. And so it was so cool because we had decided to take a trip before I had my back surgery, and we were going to go down to Mount Shasta. And so the weird thing was when I called her and talked to her, she lives in Mount Shasta. And so, yeah.
Wow.
And I only had, you know, we were just going to be there a couple days. And I only had this one time slot, this Tuesday afternoon that I could see her. And so she's like, well, I'm really booked, but let me see. And then she said, oh, I have one time slot available on Tuesday afternoon.
Meant to be. Exactly. I do believe things are meant to be.
Oh, I do. And so when I met with her, going through the process, she amazed me. One, you know, she took me through some breathing. She took me through this process of forgiveness. And in that, she helped me discover a pattern of 5 in my life that I didn't even think about. Now, I've been doing work, right, like everybody I think does, or a lot of people do, the therapies and the different things, and wasn't getting a whole lot of relief. But when she said to me, you know, tell me about your marriages and all that, you know, and I said, okay, because I'd been married 3 times. And so I said, okay, the first one lasted 5 years, the second 5.5, and the third one 10. And my first job was 10 years. My second job was 20 years. I'd been in there at that time. And she looks at me and said, okay, what happened to you when you were 5 years old? And I'm like, what? And she's like, what happened to you at 5? And I said, my dad left. he left for another family, a stepdaughter that looked just like me and totally ignored me. She said, okay, let's start there.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was at that time, and then at the end of our session, my pain was less, my awareness was heightened, and it was like, do people know about this? People have to know about this. And as I recovered from the back surgery is when I went ahead and signed up to become a certified master radical forgiveness coach.
Wow. Wow. And that's when I met you, actually, about 3 years ago when you were completing this program. And I wanted to have you on the show because, we've known each other for about 3 years. And when people meet you and see you, they just look at this happy-go-lucky, not a worry in the world, because you're not one of those people that go, blah, 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 blah. You're not a gossiper. You're not anything like that. And you just always see the positive. And so sometimes I think people look at you and they think she doesn't have a care in the world. And they do not understand all the work that you've done to get to this point. I mean, yes, you are happy. Is life perfect? No, things are always going to show up on our life. We're always going to have disappointments. We're always going to have sorrow that shows up. I mean, it's out of our control. But you have a way of taking this now when something does come up difficult, when something does, you get that curveball thrown at you, you're able to work with this very quickly because a lot of people go down this rabbit hole. So can you address that?
Yeah. So, life hasn't always been happy-go-lucky. Yet, just like life is life, and learning to work with life on life's terms is important. So my experience has been, I've always been given the gift to find the gift in things. There's something in me that always wants to see the gift in it, no matter happy or sad. And, I think that kind of came from my mom later in life. It wasn't there at first for her. But I spent a lot of my time in victim. I spent a lot of my time blaming and feeling shame for who I was. I, like many women, went through the sexual trauma in my young years. And, working through that, I have been in abusive relationships and needing help with that. Being a single mom, turning to alcohol. So I turned to alcohol and food and relationships to try to numb out. And I am 14 years sober now and so grateful. And so that really started my wake-up call. So I'd gone through all of this time with drinking, with going, finding men to kind of help placate my loneliness and really living a life that I wasn't proud of. And then, of course, after I'm going from relationship to relationship to relationship, I'm thinking it's their problem. What is their problem? What is this guy's problem?
Yeah.
Finally, I started realizing I am the common denominator.
But let's just stop there. This is an aha moment. I have goosebumps all over my body because there are so many women who are watching this show right now. And I know, I'm telling you, my whole body's just covered in goosebumps. So I have to take a pause here because we have to release the blame and the victim, and we have to own it. We have to own where we were, but not be ashamed of it. Brene Brown reminds me of you both. I see a similarity between you and Brene Brown about the shame and we have the vulnerability, but that story will help us, empower us to help others and serve other people. And so I just wanted to stop for a moment and just honor you sharing that very pivotal point in your life and owning that, because it's not easy to do. It's not easy to come on here to complete strangers who don't even know you and to be able to be vulnerable and be able to share this. The reason why I want to have you on there is because you can help people that are watching this right now to understand that they don't have to hold on to this shame anymore. They don't have to be the victim, and that they can be the victor and come out of this. So I just wanted to pause and just honor you for just sharing your truth right now. That's powerful.
Thank you, Lisa. And that's one of my desires and almost like a need is to help other women be able to take a look at what they thought was shameful and learn that it's not true. You know, with shame, we learned, and I love Brene Brown's work. She's helped me a lot in this journey. Different teachers for me, Louise Hay and Brene Brown, and going through a lot of different treatments and a lot of different healings, shamanic. I have done a lot, but in that just kind of healing process, learning that, you know, shame is sometimes put on us. Mm-hmm. Children, it's not necessarily ours. And then the guilt we carry. You know, a lot of people don't realize there's different forms of guilt. There's appropriate guilt, there's inappropriate guilt. And that's what I'm going to be talking about, you know, in these upcoming calls and workshop is when I understood that, I'm like, I just took a 50-pound backpack off my back.
Yeah.
And I learned how to become friends with my so-called shadow side. Yeah. So what are those parts of me that I feel shameful about? Because guilt is, you know, for something that we've done, but shame is who we think we are. Mm-hmm. And that can be put on by, especially like teenagers, right? They just are, you know, they're trying to fit in. And if you don't fit in, what happens?
Yep.
And so learning this as an adult, you know, I was like, oh my gosh, it changed my life.
Well, and a lot of us, myself included, I've done this. I've put those feelings up on a shelf. Like, I don't want to deal with my past. It's up there. My relationships with men and marriages and working, being miserable in a job and not being the best parent because I was depressed. We put those up on a shelf. And what happens when we do that, we don't heal. Like, it's just a Band-Aid. Like, I'm not going to deal with it. But it shows up. It shows up in our relationship. All of a sudden, we find ourselves partnering with, you know, even as women entrepreneurs coming today, we find ourselves partnering with people who maybe not be the right fit for us. But it's what's up on the shelf. Like, something's triggering up on the shelf. So can you address that too?
Oh, absolutely. Because, you know, when we do try to hide it, I call it, it's like a beach ball. If you've ever played with a beach ball in the pool or even in the ocean, the more you try to push the beach ball down, the more it pushes back. Mm. So it's kind of like, it's like that, and pretty soon it pops up, right? Because, you know, you can't hold it there, or it slips, it's slippery, and it comes out the side, or it comes out the other side. And that's exactly what happens to us, because the more we try to hold down these beliefs, a lot of them are subconscious, unconscious. And so learning to become conscious of them is what I love to help people do. Because being, and then having a path,
yes,
heal it. But the subconscious, it can't stay there for long. That's the beauty of our bodies and our minds, is that it comes out. It has to come out. Because if it doesn't, you know, that leads to all sorts of things. So some ways, like for me, my back surgery, my neck surgery, that's how it showed up for me. You know, and also different people, it shows up at the way that radical forgiveness started was working with cancer patients. And that's what I was really aware of, because I was working with Louise Hay's work, you know, it's like, you can heal your body. But learning this was when they found one common belief with a lot of people who have cancer, and that is, I'm not good enough. In fact, I don't want to be seen. And I'm afraid to be seen. And it was so deep, you know, and that's what causes that codependence. Because a lot of people, and us women do this, we put other people first. We don't take care of ourselves. So in our bodies, but then we're resentful.
Yes.
Resentful. And it's okay to admit, but, you know, growing up, you couldn't admit that. You've got to be superwoman. Hello, we're not meant to be superwoman.
No.
We're not. And so that way, in the unconscious brain, they come up, and they come out usually in disease, aches or pains, and headaches, body aches, and it can get as big as, like mine, the neck and the back fusion, or cancer, or an autoimmune. And, and I even, even after being aware, I still found myself falling back into old patterns. And when I started working on the business, I just kind of went back to that corporate thinking, and just like, I got to work hard, I got to do this, I got to push through. And, I had a wake up call again just a couple years ago with a brain tumor. And that was like, okay, I was going blind in one eye. And it was like, all right, I get to do things differently. And that was huge. Now, I'm not saying, the other part of this is the forgiveness work helped me through that, because I kept thinking, oh, I created this.
Yeah.
And there's a part of the self-forgiveness work that we go through. It's not that we totally created it, but we didn't necessarily help it along by the beliefs that we have, or the stress that we're under, or the eating we, are doing. So there's all parts of this. So going through my own self-forgiveness was extremely important, because I kind of fell down that rabbit hole too of, oh my God, what have I done?
Yes.
My husband was scared. Are you going to die? I didn't know what was going to happen. And so that was a really big wake-up call for me to go, okay, I really want to help women, especially, but people, to be able to get back home.
Yeah.
Themselves.
And sometimes getting back home doesn't mean the childhood that we grew up in.
No.
Because the childhood that I grew up in, even though for the most part it was good, there were some very painful, tragic things that happened in my childhood, and you squish those things down and you just like, well, I'm just going to focus on what was good about it. Well, there were some very terrifying bad things that happened in my childhood. And so when you say go home again and go back, I just want to address that, because that might trigger in somebody else. So I just wanted to bring that up, that it doesn't mean necessarily go back to our home of the home that we were raised in.
Yeah, no. Thank you.
Yes.
For clarifying that. When I say come home, I mean back to me.
Yes.
Who is the authentic me? Because the one thing that I found after I went through my last divorce, that's when I realized the common denominator is me. I was deeply depressed, on medication, and I could go to work and come home. That's all I could do. And I was, I was being controlled. I was allowing myself to be controlled because I didn't know any different, because the codependence was so deep.
Yes.
And, I kind of fell to my knees. I can't do this anymore. And so what I realized was, the question that came to my mind, who am I? Who am I? I had no idea, because I had worn these different hats. I was a mom. I was a worker. I did great. I wasn't a very good mom a lot of the times. And, I've asked forgiveness for my kids. But I could give my all to other people, but I didn't to me. So I didn't know. A lot of people don't know this, but I didn't even have an opinion on things. I would hand all of my power, I'd abdicate my power to the man in my life. Mm-hmm. So my husband's thoughts, his dreams were mine. When people ask, what do you want to eat for dinner? It's like, what do you want?
Yeah.
And it was pretty deep. And so I started that journey in 2009, and it really changed my life. In the sense of, what I kept hearing in my head was, I want to come home to me. I want to come home to me, because I felt like I was out there.
I feel that. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful.
And I just started on this journey of help me find me. Where can I find me? Now, I'm there all the time, but I just had to go through a lot of different things, especially the forgiveness work, to kind of clean off those layers, so that I could feel, who am I authentically?
Yes.
Am I funny? Am I not? Am I this serious? What have I learned from my family of origin and society of how to be? And as I've done that, it's been amazing, especially after the brain surgery. That was a huge wake up, and it was like, all right, we're going deeper on this, baby. And so self-forgiveness has been my passion. It's been, I want to help other people to do that.
I love it. And one of the things that for the people that may not know who you are, Brenda is one of the most fun people to be around. You know, even though what she teaches and her courses and stuff, you go deep, it's not all negative. I mean, there's so much positive that comes, the enlightenment. It's like a celebration at the end. And Brenda is all about celebrating life. And I just want to make sure people know that even though it's a serious and we address those things, it's the end result. Like, look at Brenda right now. She is so flippin' happy. And speaking of happy, you have recently written a book. Will you share that and tell us about the book, please?
Oh, thank you, Lisa. I am really happy. I have just completed a book, and can I share it?
Yes, please.
So this is the book, and this is just the one copy. We sent it in for final edits, and so it'll be available in a couple weeks. And so you'll start seeing more about that, because in this book, I wanted something that was like an evergreen product for people. I wanted something that they could go to when they were feeling like, oh my gosh, I feel so down about myself. I feel resentful. I just feel stuck. I don't know what to do. And in this book, there are 3 sections. One is forgiving yourself, and it's an easy read, and I give some examples and some exercises to do. And it's forgiving others. And then it's living a forgiving life, because that's important too. A lot of people, like myself, I did not trust life. And I thought I couldn't trust people. I couldn't trust life. I thought everybody wanted something from me. And so I built up a wall. Now, I looked great on the outside, but on the inside, I was dying. I was lonely, I was scared, and I didn't know all of that. And some people don't, because it becomes a way of life, like the perfectionistic tendencies, right? Where you're trying to prove yourself all the time. I was trying to be the best I could be all the time for everybody else. And on the inside, it was empty. Empty.
Powerful, powerful. You also have some upcoming workshops, seminars. Can you share that also, please?
Yes. So on November 11th, it's a Saturday in Bellevue. I am doing a self-forgiveness workshop. Now, it's called Ignite You, Ignite Your Life, Ignite Your Passion. And it's a self-forgiveness experience and journey. And in this workshop, it's going to be 12:30 to 5. And what we're going to do is we are going to do some individual exercises. And, we'll be together as a group, but it's going to be a very individual experience. People can share if they want. But it's really going to take a look at some of these labels. Perfectionism, overachiever. It's going to look at that. We're going to look at how we can be more aware. This is my biggest thing. It's being aware of what's going on in my life. What do I want to keep? What do I want to give away? I have a choice today. I never knew I had a choice. So we're going to be doing that. And then also, before that, this Thursday, I'm going to be doing a Q&A. So for people to understand the power of awareness. So just to let people, learn a little bit more about the work. Yeah. And they can ask questions.
How can they find you? What's the best way to locate you or find you on social media?
You bet. So they can find me, Brenda Reiss, REISS. Brenda Reiss-Coach is my business page. My website is brendareisscoaching.com, and that has the event on there. And there's also there's posts on both of my pages. That's the information if they're interested in either one of those events.
Yes, absolutely. It has just been so much fun. I am so delighted that you could take time out of your busy day, Brenda, and come and share your journey with us, because I think it's important for people to get to know the story behind the person and their why behind they do the work that they do. And you being open today has just been absolutely incredible. And it's just been such a pleasure to have you.
Oh, Lisa, thank you. I really want to get this message out there as much as I can and really start to bring more awareness for people and healing, and choice. So thank you for this.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining me, and I will attach the links to the show. And so thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and we will be back next week with a new show. So thank you very much, and get your prance on.